Good morning, everyone. So, we are once again back with the discussion of the editorial from the Hindu. Today is Saturday, which is the last day of our editorial discussion in a week because on Sunday there is no publication of article, and also on 16th of January 2026 there was no publication of the Hindu was made because of the Pongal festival as well as Makar Sankranti. Okay, so that is why we did not have any kind of discussion on the Hindu yesterday. However, we did discussion on the Indian Express yesterday because Indian Express did got published yesterday. Okay, so let us start. So this is the first page which does not contain any kind of information. So we'll leave that page. Now let me. So basically, the first page is of the advertisement. Second is also having advertisement. Okay. So let us move forward. So here we are starting with the headlines of the Hindu. So first is basically about the Supreme Court reject Justice Burma challenge to formation of House Inquiry Committee. Okay, so Justice Burma case, you must remember that uh, a burned bundle of cash were found at the residence of Justice Yaswant Verma, who was then the justice, one of the judges of the High Court of Delhi. Okay, and then there were public roar on that matter, and then he was ultimately transferred to Allahabad High Court. Okay, now the Supreme Court on Friday. Now the news is that the Supreme Court on Friday rejected a petition by Justice Yaswant Verma challenging the Lok Sabha Speaker's constitution of a committee to inquire into a motion for his removal, underscoring that safeguards for judges cannot paralyze the removal process. The court said accepting the Allahabad High Court judge's interpretation of the Judges Inquiring Act would result in a disabling consequence, pushing members of parliament back to square one. Justice Verma is facing an inquiry for misbehavior after sacks of half-burned currency were allegedly found at his residential premises after a blaze on the night of March 14, 2025. So around 10 months have gone and nothing has happened. Nothing substantial have happened with regard to the Justice Verma case. Okay, he was then a judge in the High Court. Constitutional safeguards for judges cannot come at the cost of paralyzing the removal process itself. A bench of Justices Dibankar Datta and S.C. Sharma observed in a 60-page judgment. Okay, so that is what, and the court has also said that the balance has to be struck between the protection afforded to judiciary and the effective functioning of the mechanism for removal of a judge treasured by people's representative. It said. Okay, so that is the thing. Now, highest annual spike saw 44,000 startups. Okay, added last year, Modi. So, not of great importance for us from this perspective of the examination. So, let us scroll down to the editorial page. Okay, just a minute. So, yes. Now we are here with the editorial page. Okay, so it has been written by Joya Hassan, who is the professor emeritus, uh, CPAS, CPS JNU. Okay, so decentralized. So it is about the Congress. Okay, so we are not going to read about this because it is very political, and we do not need to have political discussion. Okay, because of the fact that this is not going to be helpful for us. Okay, so we'll leave this. Okay, see, I'm not anti party establishment or anything, but since it is nothing important, it has no importance for our examination. That is why we are leaving this. Okay, now let us see in the corner if there is any news of our importance or not. Okay, so in India's interest can be secured only by assertion of its strategic autonomy. Okay, so that is a opinion piece. So we will not take the piece of opinion from anyone. Okay, now there is a budget 2026-27 must keep the growth momentum. Okay, so this is important for us because it has been written by the Director General of the FICCI, and it is talking about the budget 2026 to 27, which is going to come on 1st of January, February, sorry. So just 14 days ahead. So India faced global headwinds in 2025, but believed fears that America's 50% tariffs would hurt its economy. The resilience of the Indian economy had a lot to do with the government's reformist measures. Let me make it a little bit bigger. Yes, now I think it is good. Yes. So just a second. Now it's a too big. Just a second. Yes, now it is good. Okay. So India faced a global headwinds in 2025, but bleed fears that America's 50% tariffs would hurt its economy. The resilience of the Indian economy had a lot to do with the government's reformist measures. As Prime Minister Narendra Modi said recently, 2025 will be remembered as a year when India treated reforms as a continuous national mission. But the 2026-27 can give a flip to the mission. India needs to strengthen domestic drivers of growth. Now, what are the domestic drivers of the growth? So they will definitely tell us. So let us read further. This can be done by prioritizing growth, enhancing productive capital expenditure, and social sector spending. Okay, so what is capital expenditure? Basically, capital expenditure is that kind of expenditure on which you generate, human cap. You generate assets. Okay, assets creations are done. Okay, so that is what how we get the capital expenditure outcome. Okay, while and the social sector spending means you are spending in the social sector like education and health, while maintaining the current fiscal consolidation bleed path and keeping debt risk contained. Continue the focus on defense. First, the government should continue the focus on defense. Okay, with higher expenditure on the capex. Okay, capex means again capital expenditure. Okay, the share of capital outlay in defense should be enhanced to 30% from the budgetary estimate for 2025 to 26 of 26.4%. The budgetary allocation for the Defense Research and Development Organization should also be increased by at least 10,000 crore. Defense industrial corridors in Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu have made strides in promoting defense indigenization and raising defense production. Okay, so defense, you can take the point from here for your mains defense industrial corridors in Uttar Pradesh and Tamil Nadu. Okay, now the government should consider stabilizing and eastern India defense industrial corridor. Second, private enterprises have played a key role in augmenting defense exports in recent times, contributing nearly 65% of total defense exports in 2024-25. There can be a further boost by setting up a Defense Export Promotion Council for enhanced coordination with armed services, their foreign directorates, defense public sector undertakings, private manufacturers, the Ministry of External Affairs, Indian embassies, the Ministry of Defense, and communicate with foreign governments and buyers. This will also help achieve the target of defense exports set at 50,000 crore by 2028-29. Third, a transition toward clean energy, advanced manufacturing, electric mobility, semiconductors, and strategic technologies is driving a demand for critical minerals. The National Critical Mineral Mission, CNCMM, approved in early 2025, provides a strong strategic foundation to secure these materials. This can be supplemented by a dedicated critical minerals tailings recovery program under the NCMM with the purpose of treating tailings. So this much things you can see. Okay, so we don't need to go much deeper because these are not things which are going to come in our examination. Okay, so see, opinion matters less in our UPSC examinations. Okay, we the fact and the more important the analytical aspect of the topics are important for our examination. Okay, so let us see. So we'll move ahead to text and context section. Okay, and we'll try to see whether if there is any other informative thing for us. Okay, so here we are with the world news. Okay, so Trump threatens to invoke Insurrection Act over protest. Okay, now uneasy calm in Iran as protest ebb. US says all options is still on the table. Okay, so tension has escalated between US and Iran, but thank God it has calmed down now. Good news for Iran, of course. Not a bad news for America as well. Sorry. So we have done with the Hindus today's editorial. I hope you found this useful since we did not find any relevant piece of information for our examination. Okay, so this is the political news in the editorial I told you. So we did not want to discuss it, and this is again it is opinion based. Okay, so for the to gain the knowledge you can read it, but from the perspective of examination it has a utility of 0%. Okay, so that is why I did not focus on that thing. Okay, anyway, we'll try to just go through once again so that anything which may have left can be covered once again. Okay, which can be importance of the examination. So I don't think anything is relevant now. So thank you very much.